Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. I don't know about you, but I am hopping, and I mean hopping mad about this debt ceiling crisis that Congress has manufactured. That's right, manufactured. I have come to the belief that this whole situation is not about helping the American people. It's about seeing who can play this game of chicken best and come out ahead and increase their political clout. I think a guest that was featured on a video from Valuetainment said it best. So listen up to what he has to say.
The debt ceiling's going up. It's just going to be what other concessions are underneath that deal. That's what I think.
What we're watching there is a marketing campaign for a game of chicken. That's what it is. You've had the two marketing campaigners that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Janet Yellen has come out and panicked everybody about what's going to happen if the debt ceiling doesn't get raised. She's been on every single TV station. And the next pawn in the marketing campaign is Jamie Dimon.
Problem is that now that these politicians have taken us so far and so close to the financial cliff, that even when, and I say when because the debt ceiling will be raised, but even when it's raised, it's going to have a dire financial impact on all of us. Couldn't happen at a worse time. Interest rates are high. Banks are closing down. Inflation is still high. And this is when they choose to play this stupid game? Well, come on, and I'm going to explain to you how, even when it's solved, it's going to have lingering impacts on all of us financially. Many of the folks who will be most severely impacted if they didn't receive a check or a check on time are watching very closely, and they're scared. I've spoken to a number of individuals who live only on their Social Security checks, and some of those checks are very small. And I can tell you from firsthand conversations, those individuals are scared that I spoke with. And what are they doing? Well, I'll tell you what they're doing. They're holding on to every dime they can. They're not spending any money unnecessarily. They're not even buying things that they usually buy. And they're even cutting back on food and other items in preparation for the possibility of them getting their checks late. Well, you ask, okay, well, how does that impact anyone else? Well, I'll tell you how it impacts anyone else. During COVID, a lot of businesses shut down. Many that are remaining open now are holding on by a thread. And if this debt ceiling or manufactured debt ceiling crisis continues past the deadlines, what will happen is these businesses are going to lose customers because people are going to be afraid to spend money. And those businesses who are barely holding on as it was are going to go out of business. Then you're going to have people losing jobs. Then you're going to have, I could just go on, but I do believe that as a result of this action, even when the debt ceiling is raised and Congress takes action, I think it's pushing us into a recession. Again, we already have high inflation, rising interest costs, and now this happening with banks shutting down. They have practically, in my opinion, guaranteed that we're going to have a recession sooner or later because of their actions. Another thing that, in my opinion, speaks to just the irresponsible actions on the part of Congress by doing this is if you look back to 2011, the country didn't default on debt, but it got so close that Standard & Poor's reduced the credit rating. And what happened was the following year, it cost $1.3 billion more in interest on money loaned. Let me explain. When you and I go in to buy, say, a car and say we're going to get a loan or we're going to get a mortgage, one of the first things that it's done is the bank or whoever the lending agency is, they'll check your credit. And the higher your credit, the lower your interest. Well, in 2011, when Standard & Poor's reduced the credit rating of the country, the first time in history, I might add, it caused the interest rates to go up. And as I said, it was approximately, from my research, about $1.3 billion. Do you know how many veterans could have been helped with that? How many homeless veterans? Do you know how many seniors on the brink of homelessness could have been placed into low-income housing, or even low-income housing built? Well, right now, we're in a similar situation where that could happen. Fitch, which is one of the 3 credit reporting agencies, or credit monitoring agencies, there's Fitch, Moody, and Standard & Poor's, I believe. Well, they've issued a warning to the government that they're watching and that they may lower the credit rating of the United States on bonds or some, I'm not a financial person, but on some of the instruments that the government is affiliated with, which would result in, again, a higher interest on loans taken out and the loans by the government. That is money that could be going to helping homeless and vulnerable U.S. citizens. That's like taking and setting fire to over $1 billion in money. So I don't know. I just think this whole thing is for personal gain on the part of politicians, not about helping us citizens. And I am fed up, sick, and tired of their gamemanship. And it's time for them to start paying attention and helping the people who they were elected and put into office to help, instead of trying to either line their own pockets as a result of their political clout or increase their influence and power. What do you think? Are you as fed up as I am? And what do you think the solution is? Let me know in the comments below. All right. Till next time on our next talk. See you later.